Hello and welcome. My name is Mark Rather, I'm UK National Sales Manager for NEC. Within this video, we're doing an introduction to MyCalls Desktop, which is an application that can work on the SL2100 and the SV9100. Before we get under the hood and understand what the application is about, it's very important that we make sure that we're actually positioning this product correctly. MyCalls Desktop is not an application that is a soft phone, okay? It's not an application that can be used as an operator's console. MyCalls Desktop is an application that's been designed to work alongside a handset, whether that be a digital handset, an IP handset, or even an analog handset. So it's not a console and it's not a soft phone. Do we have those type of applications in our portfolio? Absolutely. Okay, so this application is designed to work alongside a digital, an IP, or an analog handset. So with that said, let's get under the hood and understand a few of the features and functionality that the application can actually provide you. So MyCalls Desktop, as we've already established, is an application that can work alongside the 2100 and 9100. It will provide you visibility of your colleagues' extensions, so we can actually see when they're on the phone, whether that be an internal call, external call, outgoing call, even when they've taken their phone off because they want a quiet Monday morning. And equally, if you're using presence, which we'll talk about shortly, I can see when my colleagues are on holiday, when they're in a meeting, what time they're due back, etc., etc. You can have your external contacts. Now, every bit of these features, you can continue to use your handset if you so wished, okay? But if you wanted your external contacts under a button, because you're dialing them regular, yet again, you can just point and click and it will dial them. Some system features can actually be put onto the application as well, making your life a lot easier. And we can create some shortcuts to programs that you use on a regular basis. One of my favorite features, what I dislike about applications is if I need to do something else, I need to minimize the application. Well, not within MyCalls Desktop. I can have buttons that, as you can actually see here, yell.com, email, PowerPoint, Word document, anything that I want to have ready available for me, I can just point, click, and it will appear. I don't have to minimize the application. Beautiful feature. Call control, yet again, I can answer, hold, transfer, all by clicking all these pretty icons here if I so wished. Call history. I have the ability within the application to see call history in several ways. I can just have a summary, so I can see I've had 15 incoming calls, 2 abandoned, and made 1 outbound call. But if I go to the bottom of the application, I have a calls tab where I can see that all the calls, what the duration was the call, what was the telephone number, was it inbound, outbound. I can go off and search for telephone numbers. I have a filtering system there, all of which will become apparent when we get into the live demonstration. There's also an address book that can be used globally or personally. You can even screen pop it on an inbound call or even an outbound call if you so wished. Okay, relatively easy to see. Now, highlight and dial, a beautiful feature. I don't have to manual dial most things no more because I can just highlight the telephone number, press a little red button, as you can see there in the image, or Control F10 on my keypad, and it will dial it for me. Whether that number's in a website, whether it's on a Word document, an email, an Excel spreadsheet, it will dial it, and we'll show you that shortly. Instant messaging and presence. Instant messaging is the opportunity to send a message to a colleague that has the same application. They may be on the phone. You may want to ask if they're going out to lunch or there's a parcel in reception. That doesn't need an immediate response. But yet again, if you don't want instant messaging, we can turn and disable that feature for you if you wanted to. Presence is a nice feature where it allows people to see when you're in a meeting, when you're on a holiday, all those sort of things. And we even provide an Outlook plugin for those people that like the idea of presence but do not want the application. You usually find that's directors. Okay. But before we get into the demonstration, there is quite a topical feature that we need to discuss. The application itself will screen pop Outlook, App, Goldmine, Maximizer, SageLine 15, Microsoft Dynamics, and Salesforce. Now you'll notice they're all the different version numbers. Okay, so as an example, out the box, we can screen pop Goldmine, providing it's version 6.7 to version 9. Okay. Now, as we're aware, software developers, CRM developers try and improve their applications on a regular basis. So let's say a customer goes to version 10 of Goldmine. I can't guarantee that the application is going to continue to work, okay? But if the screen popping was to stop, don't panic, because we have what we call a macro scripting license. So some of the script can actually be written that sits in between the telephone system and the CRM and acts like a translation piece. Okay, so if you have any of those CRMs there listed on the right hand side and the version numbers are beyond what's stated, you're going to need a macro scripting license. You may, of course, have a bespoke database, okay? Can we screen pop that? Quite possibly, but our engineers will need to do some screen sharing exercise with you to ensure that we can screen pop it and out dial it. And how do we use that? The macro scripting again. So our engineers have got the tools to do some screen sharing exercise to ensure that we can actually do that for you before you actually sign the order. Okay, so there we go. So with that said, let's go and have a look at the MyCalls desktop. So here we are in the MyCalls desktop. The first thing that probably catches your eye are all these buttons right here. So let me explain what they are. The grey ones at the top are all our extensions, so we have the ability to see when people are actually on the phone or off the phone or on an inbound or an outbound call. Just to demonstrate that, I'm going to use my ST500, which is this one here, to dial, let's say, David 201. So I'm using my mobile phone to dial an extension. It's going over the internet into the application, and you can see that Mark's ST500 he's on an internal call, and yet again it says David's phone is ringing. So I have visibility of what extensions actually do. I just put that phone down. If I just phone Mark's ST500, you'll hear it ringing shortly. There we go. And let's just hang up the call right there. Okay. It will even give me the ability to see if Mark just wants a quiet afternoon. So if I just go off hook, you can see that Mark's phone is off hook. It's not dialing internally or externally or even or making or taking an inbound call. He's just off hook because he wants a quiet Tuesday morning. Okay, so that could be something that you need to be aware of. And of course, within MyCalls Manager, that can generate an alarm to a manager. That's providing that you've got the MyCalls Manager as well. Okay, the next buttons down are the green ones, and these could be external telephone numbers, so numbers that are used on a regular basis. Of course, you continue to use the phone if you wish, because you've got speed dials within that. But if you talk to NEC, Nick, or Mike on a regular basis, you could just point, click, and dial as we did with the extensions. Okay. Then you can have, if you wish, some features under keys, and this could be quite controversial because you wouldn't want to give certain features to certain people, admittedly. So please be aware of that. I have the ability within this application to change our telephone system to day service, night service. And as you're probably aware, the SV and the SL telephone systems have 8 levels of day and night service that can be changed manually. So when we say manually, it could be by button on a handset or a button on the application. Now, you probably won't want to give that to everybody, so please be mindful of that. And of course, the telephone system can change day and night service automatically depending on time and date. Okay, so I can change the day and night services. I can redirect to my voicemail. I can do a page call. So you've got some functionality there within the application. The next one's down. We've got email, PowerPoint, NEC website, Excel. Now, one of my pet hates is when I use an application, I need to do something else, is having to minimize that application, which really does annoy me. But what we can do within this application is have what we call executable files under buttons. So if I was to take a call as an example, and the caller said, Mark, I'm on your website, all I have to do is click on that button, and you can see there it's probably just out of reach there because we're recording a certain amount of screen, but you can actually see that is our website. So yeah, again, making life easy for me. I didn't have to minimize the application or anything like that. And the same could be said if I wanted to do, if I had a PowerPoint, an Excel spreadsheet, or if I just want to write an email. Okay, so yeah, again, I can click on that and you can see there it is recording an element of my Outlook. Okay, so that's quite really handy. The next buttons is our park hold keys. So I may have taken a call and it's for a colleague of mine. It's not at his desk, he's around the office somewhere. So I'm going to park the call under a button, park hold 1 as an example. And then I could put a page call out that goes through every idle handset in the building, or even a external PA system like you should have experienced if you've been into a supermarket. An announcement could be something like telephone call from Mike on park hold 1. Mike would hear that, go to the nearest handset if you wanted to, and press park hold 1 and get that call. It could come back to his desk and press that button and retrieve that call that's been on hold for him. Okay, so those are the sort of things that you can actually do within the application, and you can have 100 buttons of any type on an action page. And you can have up to 10 action pages. So at the bottom here, see, this is the office. We may have a second site that we want to put some extension statuses under, as you can see right there. You can see site 3, another site, another action page. So 10 action pages can be delivered, if you like, or designed within the MyCalls desktop application. And each application can be designed as you wish. Okay, as you wish. It's up to you. Okay, while we're down in this other area here, we have an unreturned call tab. So any calls that have come in on the main number on my DDI we haven't answered can be logged. So let me just demonstrate that for you. I'm just going to phone in right now. It's going to do several things and we'll talk about them as we go. So I'm just going to phone in here and you can see that calls come in. You can see something's happened in the background. Its screen pops. I'm just going to abandon the call. As regards to screen popping, what has actually happened here is that the call has come in. The telephone system's passed this telephone number here, my CLI, to the Microsoft Outlook and said, can you find a match? And if so, screen pop that information. So that's exactly what it's done. Now, as you're probably aware, on a mobile phone, you can withhold your telephone number from being sent to the caller. If you was to do that, of course, it's got no number to reference against, so nothing would screen pop. If I had different numbers within Outlook or my other CRMs, that could be my home number, my office number, etc., and I phone in from one of those telephone numbers, of course, if it makes a match, it's going to screen pop. Several other things that we can actually do from this point. We could transfer the caller to a colleague, so I can put the caller on hold, and if that colleague has the application, MyCalls Desktop, as soon as I transfer the call, this record would also transfer to my colleague as well, so making that a really slick type operation. I'm able to call out from this application, so you can actually see here, I can use the icons, or I can actually highlight a telephone number, and we have a little red button which can float anywhere you want, and I could press that, and you'll notice that the if I just bring this down a little bit and bring this button into play, you can see that it's actually phoning an outbound call, yeah, and it's ringing my mobile again. I'm going to decline the call for the purpose of this demonstration. Okay, now that's screen popping, and as I pointed out, we can screen pop various databases up to certain versions. If your version of CRM is outside of those versions that are stated, then you're going to need the macro scripting tool potentially to screen pop it. Equally, if you've got a bespoke database, you can use the macro scripting to potentially screen pop it, our engineers have got the tools to do some screen sharing exercise with you to ensure that we can actually screen pop it from day one. Okay. Now, I'm just going to hang that call up. Now, here we are on the unreturned calls. Okay. So this is a tab that says a call has come into you and you haven't answered it. Okay. So now you actually see that you have the ability to call them back. Okay, if I right click here, I could dial them, I could search contacts, etc. So instead of dialing them this time, what we're going to do, we're going to phone in on the number. It's going to screen pop again. So let's just answer that call. Okay, so we've answered it. Okay, and we'll put the phone down. Okay, and you'll notice now is that unreturned call has disappeared. Okay, so it gives you an idea how many calls that you've missed, gives you the ability to dial them back if you dial them back and they answer, or if you phone them back and they answer, they will be removed from your missed calls list, which is a lovely feature. Okay. Yeah, again, I've got a filtering system, so the only place you'd probably use that is actually within the calls tab. So these are all the calls that I've made today. If I wanted to see this week, yesterday, last 7 days, or even this week, yeah, again, just click on it and away we go. If we know the telephone number of the individual that's phoned, we could go off and search that number as well. So yeah, again, a call log of all your calls. Equally, you can see how many calls that you've made per day today. Incoming, we've had 1, 2 abandoned, 2 outbound calls. Okay. So those are the tabs at the bottom. So we've got our call history, our unreturned calls, our action pages, which can have 100 buttons per page. That can be extensions, external numbers, features, executable files that you use on a regular basis, or park hold keys. We also have an address book. Okay, and that address book can even screen pop. So if you don't even have a CRM, you can enter all your contacts within there. It's relatively easy. You right click and add a new contact, fill all in the information in, name, telephone number, etc. And you click on OK, and it stores it within your address book. And of course, when they phone in, it's going to screen pop if you want it to. But equally, you could highlight the telephone number again, or right click within it and you could dial it. Okay, all within the address book, and there's no limit on the amount of addresses you can have within the address book. Okay, so going back to the screen pop there, so we just close that down. Okay, let's have a look at the action or call control elements. I have the ability to put my handset into a do not disturb mode if I wanted to. And yet again, you may want to disable some of these features for some individuals. So I could go do not disturb all, external, internal, or transfer, or even clear them. Okay, if I wanted to forward my calls, where do I want to forward them to? Could be an external number or extension. Okay, the numbers that I've called and dialed, I could phone them back. Okay, I even got a good old dial pad here, so I could potentially type in the number there and phone them. And of course, as you've seen earlier, when we started to answer calls, I can answer the call, hang up, transfer. These are grayed out at the moment. There's no calls into the application. I can put them on hold. I can recall. I can park the calls. I can retrieve them, do callbacks, etc., etc. And there's even an icon here. Let's just cancel that. If we even got an icon here that gives us some of the functionality that I can do. So if you don't want to start looking across your toolbar, you can just open up the operations tab there, and you can set all those features as and when the event actually happens. Okay. The next feature I want to show you is what we call instant messaging. Okay, so this is the ability to have an instant messaging between colleagues. Okay, so I've got James' application just out of view at the moment, okay, for the purpose of this demonstration. I'm just going to send James an invitation into an instant message. Now, you may just be able to see a little blue box in the corner, only just inviting James into a instant message conversation, okay? So I'm just going to bring James up here. So James has joined, and we can free type, go hi, and you can actually see in there. And he can actually reply what's up, etc. You have templates that you could use, okay, so they can be predefined. If I just open this box a little bit more, you'll be able to see them. I could say I was a parcel in reception for him or at my desk. He can actually reply okay or thank you, use that, and I'm sure you get how instant messaging works. Now, the instant messaging is only internal for those people that got the application. It doesn't go out to the big wide world. All of the instant messages are recorded, so if any members of staff saying I've been abused via instant messaging, they can take action, go to the manager, supervisor, and they can go and review the core history, so please be careful. I may want to invite other people into this instant message. It may be a group message I want to do from day one, or bring other people in from this stage, and you can actually see if they're online or not. So you can create buddy lists and things like that relatively easy. So instant messaging is a fantastic application. Doesn't really get the glory that it deserves because it's been around for some time, but people sort of dismiss it. But it's really handy if your colleagues are on the phone and you want to send them a message. You don't want to go to their voicemail. You just say, well, do you fancy going for lunch at 12:30? Can you come and see me? Do you have this documentation? So it's not actually a rapid response that you're looking for, because they could be on the phone or whatever, but most people can multitask now. So yeah, again, instant messaging could speed up that process if you so wished. And yet again, if you did not want instant messaging, we can disable that as well. Okay, so instant messaging is an application that can be used within the MyCalls desktop. Okay, the next feature is what we call presence, so the ability to see when people are away from their desk, maybe on holiday or sick and whatever. So what I want you to do is just keep an eye on James. If I just hover over James, you can actually see he's actually in the office at the moment. But let's say, and I'm doing this just out of view, you may just see it just pop up there. I'm going to say James is going on holiday, and it presents with this little bar here, or this little pop-up, and James can actually state when he's going to come back from holiday just by clicking on it. And if I could use my new laptop, it would be good. And if I just click on the 31st, then I could put a time in there if I wanted to. I could put a destination where we're going to, USA. Let me just go down here now. You notice James at this moment is idle. And as soon as I press on OK, you watch that button change. Okay, so everybody now that's got this application knows that James is forwarding his calls, and I should have pointed that out, and I will do that for you shortly. But it's got a little icon with palm tree, so it's actually on holiday. And because we're actually remotely connecting into our demonstration suite at Nottingham, it doesn't pick up the sensitivity. But if I hover over James, it would actually tell me James is on holiday, he's due back on that certain date, and he's forwarded his calls to a colleague or to his voicemail. Okay, so presence is really, really good. So I'm just going to put the present state of James back into the office. Okay, and I'm going to do the reverse for this user. Okay, so we have this presence key here, and I can choose whatever presence I want. So I'm going into training, and I'm going to be, let's say, 2 hours. Okay, I could put in there what the training was about, or what room I'm actually going to be conducting the training in, and just here, what do I want to happen to my calls? Do I want them forwarded to a voicemail or to my mobile number, which I wouldn't want to do if I'm doing training. Okay, but I could forward it to my voicemail. Okay, I click on OK, And you'll notice now that I've got a presence key here, which normally you don't for yourself, but for the purpose of this demonstration I've done. You can see that the reception, in fact, you can see I just obviously got the sweet spot there. You can see that reception call has been forwarded to. The duration has been 19 seconds. It's forwarding to my voicemail, and yet again it could say training in there if you so wished, in the room that training is taking place. So that is presence. Now, even if I go back into the office thing, some people like the idea of presence, but don't want the application. Directors are usually key for this. But we can actually have a plugin into Outlook, so they can set the presence within Outlook. They don't get any of the features that we've already spoken about. They don't get the highlight and dial. They don't get screen popping or anything like that. But the little plugin within Outlook allows them to set their presence in the same way as what we're actually doing here. So they get all that same information to input. The Outlook Exchange will synchronize with the MyCalls desktop. So as and when their presence, so they could be going to a meeting at, let's say, 8 o'clock this morning, it will automatically change their presence and everybody will have visibility of that. Okay, so that's really nice. So if you don't want the application, or certain members don't want the application, but find it ideal to present their presence, then Outlook plugin's the answer. Okay, the other icon here you would have seen if I bring the call in. Unfortunately, I can't play to this because obviously I'm remote because we're still in lockdown. But if I call in and this time we answer the call, so it's going to screen pop and do all that sort of stuff that it did. So what we see here now, if I just close this down, we're on an incoming call. We know it's me because I'm in the database. It's screen popped. This little icon here has appeared. Now, within MyCalls Recorder, which is our call recording solution, we have the ability to pause the call if we're taking credit cards, as an example, okay? Because it's illegal to do that. So I have the ability to pause that recording while I'm taking your credit card information, and I can press it again to restart. Okay, now there are several ways you can carry out that action. Okay, that is just one of them. That button there can be a little icon in your system tray, or if you've got a payment page, as soon as you click into a particular field, we can pause it. So there's various ways we can pause the call or the recording while taking credit card information to be PCI compliant. Okay, now before we have a look at that call, I have a little icon here, which is our video conferencing. Okay, so if you want to have video calling and document sharing, it's a separate application, if you like. But what we've done, we've been able to embed it into this application as well to make it nice and smart, and everything is all together. So if I just go to these tabs here, so you can see all my calls. Now, if you've got extension users that you're going to have all the calls recorded, and you're going to give them the power to listen to their own recordings if you wanted to, they're going to need MyCalls desktop. You can see a little icon here, and that would tell me that the call has been recorded. If I just bring this into view here, this is the player, and don't forget we are in a remote situation, so I've got no call control or sound card in a machine, but this is where the call would appear, and it would allow me to play it, and you'd listen to it, and we can do all sorts. So if you're unsure about MyCalls Recorder, I'm sure the guys can point you in the direction and share a video with you all about call recording. Okay, so just to recap, you can have up to 10 action pages. You can have up to 100 buttons. You've got a whole level of call control here, instant messaging and presence. Yet again, if you don't want these features, we can disable them. We've incorporated the video conferencing element into it. It doesn't have to take up this amount of space on your laptop. You have the ability to make it smaller, and There we go. It could be something as simple as that. And every time a call comes in, it would screen pop the record. This wouldn't get any bigger. You may just want it like that, and that's exactly what I'm using, just out of sight there when I was showing you the presence. So it doesn't have to take up all of your PC, your estate, or anything like that. So what you could do is minimize it. Okay, let me just demonstrate this. So go there. So you're working on another document, a call comes in, okay, and it can pop just like it's done right there. So that is MyCalls desktop in a nutshell. Let's go back and have a summary. Some key takeaways, a summary of what we've just seen. We've got through a lot, so we can screen pop. We can use that macro scripting license that integrates the different CRMs or older versions or newer versions even of like Goldmine, as we mentioned at the beginning. Okay, shortcuts to programs that we use on a regular basis. That's a lovely feature. So that Word document, that Excel spreadsheet, just click a button and it'll appear. Presence that allows you to show and see your colleagues, whether in the office, out the office, on vacation, at lunch. Even those people that don't want the application, we provide an Outlook plugin, if you so wish, where they can actually share their presence. It can synchronize with Outlook Exchange. So if they are going into a meeting in half an hour's time, the Microsoft Outlook will synchronize with the MyCalls desktop and automatically update their presence, which is beautiful. Okay, if you've got MyCalls Recorder, okay, which is another application, and that individual wants to listen to their recordings, you need to have MyCalls desktop. Okay, we can provide system features into the application as well, as I pointed out, and you can have 10 action pages and 100 buttons per page. Okay, so a comprehensive application gives you a huge amount of key business benefits. So with that said, if you need any further information, please contact your NEC account manager or representative. Have a great day. My name's Mark Rotherham. Take care. Bye-bye.